Hello, my name is Bruce Kane. I've kind of not been very active the last couple of years, but I think it's time to be active again on a number of fronts. You'll recall that when Trump was running for president, he would begin and end his rallies with the song "Can't Get What You Want" by the Stones. And in case we have to find somebody else to take over the Trump agenda in 2020, I'm going to suggest another theme song and see if you can guess what that is. It kind of goes something like this. Of course, that song is Street Fighting Man by the Rolling Stones, also from Beggar's Banquet, 1968, when I was 14 years old. I'll talk about that a little more in a bit. So anyway, we start 2018 with Trump breaking another campaign promise. He wants to grant amnesty to 800,000 DACA recipients, which he said he would not do during his campaign. Now, as part of your base, I can accept that, provided one thing. We permanently stop any further immigration for another 20 years into the United States. Okay? Yeah, the wall was great symbolism, but it will really do little to stop any more immigration. What is most important to stop more immigration is not being discussed on Fox News or really any of the other networks, and it requires two primary actions. The most important of these will be the instituting of universal E-Verify. The second action that is absolutely essential is that we must stop all further chain migration. We have got to start looking after our own people. We don't need Chinese or Arabs or Muslims or anybody else coming into this country taking any more of our jobs. We are quite capable of doing what needs to be done in this country, Donald, and you need to get that through your head. E-Verify was instituted in 1997. It is 99.99% effective in identifying illegal aliens and therefore preventing them from working in this country. For E-Verify to stop immigration, all U.S. employers must be required to use it for all hiring. No exceptions whatsoever. And that is why we must have universal E-Verify as a requirement if we are to allow you to pass DACA for 800,000 illegal immigrants. Now, the only bill that contains universal E-Verify is the Goodlatte bill. And Goodlatte's bill must pass, and your base will desert you if it is not passed and implemented. I want that to be clear. And I hope the base understands that if we allow DACA to go without E-Verify and without stopping chain migration, then Trump has just blown orange smoke up our ass again. This cannot be allowed. So please, President Trump, heed this warning from one of your most dedicated supporters. Now, I'm asking that all Trump supporters and all supporters of a moratorium on immigration do the following. The first thing you need to do is share this video as widely as possible on Facebook, Twitter, and all other platforms. Secondly, call or write President Trump with this simple message: either you pass E-Verify through the Goodlatte bill, or the Trump revolution goes forward without you in 2020. We're going to find somebody else to take your place, President Trump. And the third thing I want you to do is join my Facebook group for further updates. And I also want you to read the essay that goes into much more detail about what we're speaking about today. I mean, I'm just getting over the flu. I'm just not in the fucking mood for that. There are actually many other issues that Trump needs to address, and a lot of those are covered in the essay. And they can be found in the video notes along with additional information that you're going to need. Okay, now to relax a little bit. Look at the rest of this is extemporaneous. So, when I was 14 years old in 1968, when Street Fighting Man came out, I was a young hippie who had just done marijuana and LSD for the first time. And the lyrics in Street Fighting Man that always struck me, it's just always been ingrained in my DNA since I was that young, was this idea of accepting compromise solutions. Okay? In 68, I could never understand why people were getting arrested for smoking marijuana. I mean, it was just absurd. I mean, compared to LSD, it was like nothing. And for anybody that smokes cannabis, which I still do on occasion, I mean, it is no more debilitating than a cup of coffee. I mean, it's just ridiculous. People's property has been forfeited. People have been killed. It's just ridiculous. It's unnecessary that this has ever happened, okay? So, here we are, many, many years later, and instead of everybody being able to just simply grow their marijuana, instead of finally getting Everify implemented, which has been 22 years and we still do not have universal E-Verify. You kind of think we got a problem here? So, what is the problem we have, you know? And some people would say, oh, well, you know, it's just the Democrats against the Republicans. That's the problem, you know? And I'm telling you, that's just bullshit kabuki theater. You know what the real problem we have right now in this country and have had for many, many decades? The war isn't between Republicans and Democrats. The real war is between globalist corporations and banks and the people. And for too goddamn long, the will of the people is being ignored. And we cannot afford Trump, who we put so much faith in, who just barely diverted the immediate globalization of this country, to then just betray us. No, this crap cannot be allowed. It just bothers me. You know, we're losing choice by the day. Facebook, the internet as well, Twitter, all these platforms with these rich crap globalist bitches like Zuckerberg are betraying our fundamental right, our right to free speech. We are living in a very dangerous period now. And if I didn't think this is so important, I wouldn't be speaking now, because I really am not in a great mood at the moment. But I feel some things need to be said, and I am saying them. I mean, we're getting forced. We're getting forced to put smart meters on our home. They're getting ready to force fifth generation internet on us. We're forced to be driving autonomous cars. Our freedoms, our privacy, and our rights are being destroyed by globalist corporations, by globalist politicians, both Democrat and Republican, and by Bezos and Zuckerberg and these other assholes that are now censoring what we have to say because they also embrace this globalist agenda. They want to bring in more immigrants. They want to keep our borders open. They want to censor what we say as free Americans. I mean, I'm telling you, there is nothing more fundamental to this republic than the First Amendment and our right to free speech. Now, 1996, I ran against John Dingell for U.S. Congress. My two positions back there were a 20-year moratorium on both legal and illegal immigration. And my second major plan back then was I wanted adults to be able to grow their own marijuana, as we call it today, cannabis, without ever having to worry about the police or the government interfering with what they did. And instead, I mean, it's just gotten worse. I hate to say it. It's just getting worse. We're losing more choice all the time. So that was 1996. Of course, I lost. In 1997, they brought in Everify. But it's only been limitedly used, and that can't continue. Everify must be universal. No exceptions. Any person that applies for a job in the United States must go through Universal E-Verify, and if they're not deemed to be an American citizen, they don't get a job. That is the only way that we end legal and illegal immigration. That is the only way that the wages and benefits of American workers are going to start going up again. Again, I got the flu, so I think I've said pretty much what I've got to say. It's up to you, Trump supporters, and others of you out there, I don't care if you're a Trump supporter. The thing that is really scaring me right now is the censorship. I've been posting on Facebook for years. At the beginning of this year, over 80% of my posts are marked as spam by Zuckerberg. This is not acceptable. It's like they spent years getting hundreds of millions, billions of people on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, and now, because they are globalists, they support this global agenda, and they are trying to shut us up because we are getting smart. And they feel now that the only way they can push through their goddamn agenda is by censoring our free speech. Well, I'm sorry, America. This is not acceptable, and I hope to God you share that view. So, I'm going to end it here. See the information that I will provide in the notes for the YouTube video. Please read my essay. Please get on my Facebook list. And together, let us hopefully bring Trump back into the fold. Because if Trump does not come back into the fold, we're going to have to find somebody else in 2020. It's not an option if he keeps this up. Yesterday he talked about this freedom of religion thing. That's a violation of the First Amendment too. I mean, we don't want any religion in our schools. I mean, you're free to practice your religion privately, But we have a separation of church and state. And that goes for schools. There should be no challah or kosher foods in public schools, and we're seeing it in Dearborn where I live. That crap needs to end. So that was a bad idea. This religious thing was a bad idea. And then yesterday, I heard them talk about how we need to stay in Syria. Well, there's another promise. You know, the only good coverage Trump got in the first year in office is when he launched missiles into Syria. Again, during his campaign, he promised us that he would stay out of Syria. Instead, he's making deals with the Saudis and others that want... I mean, it's all about a goddamn pipeline. And for that, Obama, during his 2 administrations, basically committed genocide on millions of Muslims and Christians. I don't know about you, but I'm fed up with that. So please join me. Please, let's... I'm retired, but I think it's time to get back to work, America. That's it for now, guys. Thanks for listening.